Today's November 21st, 2017. John, it's Tuesday before a very long weekend. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is like the biggest drinking day of the year. Did you know that?
I have heard that bars do exceedingly well on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, Andrew. And I think some of it is because perhaps preparing themselves for the families and trying to numb it down.
There's only two pieces of advice I have for that. One is,
let's hear it.
Be careful if you're on the road. And two, if you're trading, most of the people are gone, starting like today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
If tomorrow's the busiest drinking day of the year, whatever you got in trade-wise, you got to kind of take care of today or maybe very early tomorrow.
It's a good idea not to overstay your welcome and try to get a bunch of trades done late in the day tomorrow when there might not be the liquidity there.
No.
But for most individuals, rather than institutions, that's rarely too much of a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're somebody that's swinging around, a big portfolio, you don't want to be trying to do that on Wednesday and Friday.
Nope.
Because you will make more of a market impact than usual, I would suspect.
Okay. Now, on to our other subject, which is Bitcoin. I've been following with great interest today the horse race between CME and CBOE, two exchanges to get their futures rolled out. Now, CME said December 11th, and CBOE put out another post on that today. We're gearing up. By the end of the year, there's going to be futures trade on Bitcoin. What do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of interest in it. It's not like a 4 times VIX ETF product that's come out now. There's a lot of people that are focusing on this. How do you think it's going to affect the market?
Ultimately, both those exchanges getting into the space will numb the volatility down. Should not be as wild.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it won't keep going up. Some people that don't really understand what goes on with futures and options were, purporting to tell me what would happen. And let me instead tell them and any of our valued listeners what will happen. If you are somebody who has held Bitcoin and have not hedged it, even though there are hedges available to you, not just selling it, but hedging it on the internet, there's already a myriad of exchanges to do that. But if you've used any of those and instead now, perhaps because CME Group is this multi-billion-dollar behemoth, and same thing with the CBOE, and they have the full faith and credit of all these people that clear there, hence the OCC, the Options Clearing Corp for options, at CBOE, or this CME futures clearing and Globex for the futures. That all said, if you hit a bunch of market makers with a bunch of hedges that you'd like to put on, so you own a bunch of Bitcoins and you try to sell them, and you do it by selling either the futures or by synthetically being short by selling calls and buying puts, however you choose to do it, using the exchange for exactly what it's intended. It's a risk transfer vehicle.
Yeah.
So that means that with that hot potato, if you no longer want to hold it at 8,200, you really think that the guys that bought it from you really want to hold it at 8,200? They're, of course, marking up whatever the spread is between the bid and the offer, and they will hedge it, meaning that if they're providing you synthetic short, purchasing a call from you and buying a put or whatever, or selling you a put rather, they are going to sell Bitcoins against that.
Therein lies the difference.
So people misunderstand the process. It will always have the same impact. If you have a bunch of people selling and they overwhelm the buyers, it doesn't matter if you have futures or options. You will impact price. It's just transferring it from one place to another.
Well, that's okay. It'll just be interesting to watch for sure because the market, there's a lot of people that are just holding Bitcoin and not selling it. It's not like corn or oil or, another commodity that you can, mitigate your risk, as you said.
Right. Well, and as you said, a lot of people holding it. Well, who are some of those people? Number one, they're people with very deep pockets for the most part. people like Peter Brigger and Novogratz,
But
and then also the Winklevi,
that's
the
right.
Winklevoss twins that have purchased, I believe, 1% of all outstanding Bitcoins. That was their goal. They wanted to own 1% of all Bitcoin. Don't know that they accomplished that goal, but assuming that they might have, that's in excess of $1 billion, because there's over 100 billion in Bitcoin out there right now. Smart people and lucky people who have owned Bitcoin and held it, some of whom will want to hedge it. Others will elect to just keep holding it because they believe it's going to be 100,000 or higher.
Yeah.
And they're like, why should I sell at 8,000? That's what makes a market, though.
More to
There are
come.
those that will,
We're
which
ending.
you can do as well, by the way, folks. And there are those who will buy it.
We're ending 2017 on a bang. All right, so back to regular world, stock-wise. You doing any trades today? I heard you
Yeah.
talking about Trip.
TripAdvisor, they had just a horrible earnings report, and the stock tumbled from, I think, maybe 38 or so back down to 30. And that was after another disastrous earnings report the quarter before. They are not one of the big winners in the space this year, even though I really do like their service. So TripAdvisor, we saw people scrambling in buying the January 35 calls. Obviously, they're taking less risk than buying a $30 stock. They've run the stock up $2 today to 32 and change. And that was one of the unusual activities that we cited today, that and Micron Technology, which is just like, well, it's a day that ends in day. So they must be buying more Micron calls.
Pete's been on that MU for a long time.
Yeah, he has. And he's done exceedingly well with that trade. And it's a great company, struggling to break above 32.5 or so. And once it did, it was Katie bar the door. Now it's just shy of 50.
Gotta like that.
Yeah,
Any other trades going? You got to been keeping your powder dry going in this long weekend, no? I have.
There was a lot of Procter and Gamble today, Andrew. PG.
I saw that. I like the company in
calls.
general. Yeah, just
Yep,
it's
I
a
do
good
too.
company. It's a good company.
I do too, and I liked that. I also did HIMX.
They were buying the February's. Which one?
HIMX.
HIMX. Yeah, the January 13
it's a
calls.
Fabulous semi-provider. So in other words, they are in that space. They happen to be, a provider for that particular, fabulous semiconductors. And it's a $2.2 billion company, I think. So when you see fast money flowing into stocks like that, it makes you think, boy, that's a bite. That's not even a full chomp for anybody big if they decide they want that. So that's why I paid attention to those purchases today.
As Stern says on the Stern Show, hit him with the Heim. Hit him with the Heim. I'm stealing that from him, but I just think it's funny because I listen to him sometimes. All right, man. Well, you're headed over to the CME right now? Going to go do something? Doing some stuff?
And over in Geneva.
Oh, that's right. Can't wait.
London and Geneva next week. So we'll have some podcasts coming your way from overseas.
Yeah, Monaco.
But until then, and if you're somebody who lives overseas and you're listening to the podcast and so forth, well, heck, shoot us some places we should go for drinks and so forth.
Yeah.
Put them into the comment section of Google Play, YouTube, or iTunes, and tell your friends about the podcast.